What's up guys, Jake here. We're here with Hope Dealers. We're here to answer a few questions they have for this interview. I'm super excited, but if you're new to my channel, I run a YouTube channel called Scuba Jake or DALLMYD where I go treasure hunting and I show everyone all the cool stuff that I find in the rivers and anything else I come across. So let's get this started. So my name's Jake. I'm a treasure hunter. So my name's Jake. I'm a treasure hunter from Columbus, Georgia, and I started treasure hunting because I was fishing and I didn't have a lot of money. And every time I lost my lures, I was just like, I just need a pair of goggles, you know, to get my lures back. And that's what we did. We just put a pair of goggles on for the first time, and I went underwater, and then I found a world that I never knew existed, and then started collecting lures left and right. I found the ones I lost, and then I found my first phone, and then I gave it back to someone, and then I found a gun and I gave it back to someone, and that week I think that weapon that I found reached over 1 billion views on Facebook, and it just changed my life. So then we became a treasure hunter full-time. So that's kind of like the start of it all, because I just didn't have money, and then I just documented everything I found because it's the most fun I was ever having. And you just never know what you're going to find. And we're actually here at the Chattahoochee where everything kind of started for me. And it's just fun to go out there, whether you're fishing, surfing, you know, scuba diving, it doesn't matter. Just being outside is a lot of fun. And that's, you know, why we do it. It's just stuff I would do if I had a typical job. You know, if I had to encourage someone to go after their passions, is just to give it 110%. You know, you want to be confidently just achieving and planning everything that you want. Like, you know, it's something like this. There's a lot of plannings that I have to take out of the equation. You know, it's just luck. You know, I don't know what's down there underwater, but I just got to show up. So maybe if I can give you one, you know, thing of advice, would be just to show up. And that's probably the biggest battle you'll need to conquer. And then if you show up, you know, it's just the next steps that come forward. But consistency is where I would say. Yeah, you know, if you're curious about like the money aspects with YouTube, you know, when I started my channel in 2011. I didn't make $100 till 2016, and I'm talking I did every day. I was obsessed. I gamed though, so I was making gaming videos in the gaming content world. So I wanted it more than anyone, and I'm telling you this because, you know, it could take you many years to receive your first check. But if I gave up at any point, you know, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. And like I said, everything kind of was lucky for me. I just was losing my lures. I needed more lures, and I didn't have money for it. So when I put those goggles on, that whole genre of treasure hunting found me. And then, you know, when I got home, I looked on the internet to see if anyone else was doing the stuff I was doing, and there really wasn't. There was a couple people kind of doing some Civil War stuff, and I made some videos with some of those people I saw, but it was brand new, and I just got lucky with that genre, and it found me. So you know, yeah, the money aspect, I never did it for money. I just wanted to be a YouTuber. I thought it was the funnest thing. And then, you know, as you get older, I was 24 years old and I didn't make $100 yet, you know, in a month. And I was like, okay, we got to pick things up, you know, if we're going to do this. And then I remember having a conversation with my mom. She was a barber. And I was like, hey, Mama, I was like, how much money did you make today? And then she was like, you know, whatever, $200-300. I was like, dang, that's a lot of money. She's like, how much you make? I was like, maybe I made my first 100, you know? And then the next day, my goal was to make, you know, maybe more than my mom, just because it's like, you know, maybe an official job or something. And it's all friendly. And then the next day I was like, how much money you make, Mom? And then mine, maybe I made more than her. And then the next day, you know, maybe we made a year's worth of revenue in one day. Like, it was just crazy. So YouTube is like gambling. You can upload any of these platforms. It's like gambling. You can upload a video and it can change your life overnight, or you can work on it for 6 years in a row and not make $100 like I did. But the number one thing is to show up, be consistent, and give it your heart and soul. And don't do it for money. Do it for memories. Look at your videos because you love to watch back and see what you got going on. And maybe that's why I was successful. I didn't see it as like a business. I just saw it as, you know, I was having fun in the river being a kid. So we got the police coming up right now. So, you know, when we go scuba diving, we find all types of stuff. Sometimes we find some bad stuff, like, you know, maybe weapons people toss in the water to get rid of them. Maybe they're iPhones or GoPros, and we try to figure out who the owner is, you know, because he's, you know, the phones are expensive, but there's memories on them that, you know, these people want back. And then once I figured that out, I was like, wow, we could actually help a lot of people out. And then people were messaging me, and then I have this big map on my computer at home. Basically, let's just say you lost something and you were in a different state. I would log it in my map, and I have a whole world like of dots lined up. So maybe you lost your gold ring, and, you know, if I was traveling somewhere, I could go find that ring for you. But, you know, we've probably helped out, I mean, it's countless. You know, you could go out here in the river and find all types of stuff because it's a whitewater rafting course, but when you help someone out, it's just a different feeling. It's really cool to see their face kind of light up when you find something they thought was gone forever. So And we're pretty successful as long as they know where they lost it. You know, it's kind of just a numbers game. You can get out there and just start picking away all little pieces of whatever it may be until you find that thing you're looking for. But, you know, I love helping people, and anytime I get a message, I treat it really, I treat it with this, I guess, I treat it seriously, and I see if I can genuinely help this person. And yeah, we've helped some people in the past, and it's a passion of mine. And we do it all for free. It's just fun. Favorite story? You know, so people always ask me what are my favorite treasures I found. And to be honest with you, there's all types of stuff that I come across, and there's like genres. So, you know, I have my favorite, maybe bad stuff I found, maybe favorite valuable stuff. I'd say my favorite, like the most money I've seen get pulled from a crystal hunting mine excursion. Like we went to this private mine, and I watched these people pull out over $1 million of crystals in a day. So as treasure, you know, we see stuff like that. I don't get to keep any of that. Maybe a crystal or two if the owner allows it, but we're there just to make a video and have fun and document it. So like there's crazy stuff like that where you see millions of dollars in operation. But to be honest with you, I have fun just going out in the river. It doesn't really matter what I find. I just want to be that kid. But maybe a nut, like that was my favorite crystal hunting day, and we're finding these big clear quartz crystals, super cool. My favorite maybe river find, you know, we find some good stuff and bad stuff. Maybe my favorite good thing was maybe just a typical phone, you know, maybe you give back to someone. We've done that countless times, and it's always kind of fun. We had found some bones of a missing person down the river, and it's kind of cool to help out in a situation like that. Obviously it's sad, but it's good that we found that person. That, you know, they're no longer missing, and it was just bones, but they were chopped up. So, you know, it's just so much fun to go out and see what you find, whether it's the slot machine coins, or, you know, maybe weapons from the old mafia days or whatever it may be. They're all stories, and it's just kind of fun. It doesn't really matter to me, but helping people is a passion of mine for sure. So I started my channel, my YouTube channel, in 2011. From 2011 to 2016, like I said, I didn't make $100, but I was uploading the gaming content. And the day my life changed is when I decided to put those goggles on and dive in the river for the first time to retrieve my lures that I lost. And that's when I found that phone. And then I found a gun, and then I called the police. And then that week really changed my life. And just there was a lot of traction online. It seemed like everyone wanted to talk about what we were doing. It was very wholesome and very true and organic, nothing set up. Never. So I go out and I just document what I find. But that week in particular, it really did change my path. And then I used that kind of hype and just kept just pushing it and pushing it and pushing it, and then reinventing the sport of treasure hunting. You know, we first started with just a pair of goggles. We're snorkeling around, and I was like, we need to get that scuba tank on our back so we can find everything down there. And then I was like, okay, I found everything. We need to get a metal detector to find the stuff underneath the sand. So I think the biggest thing for me is just keeping it new and fresh. But I will say that first week of me treasure hunting really did change my life, and then I used that to kind of push on. But just reinventing, I guess, the same thing every year and trying to make it bigger and better is the key to probably longevity within this kind of genre. But to be honest with you, I just think it's something that may stick around forever. It's just kind of fun. You know, who doesn't love just to go out and just see what you can find? It's just, it's the little kid in us, you know? So there's never been a person, there's never been a specific video that ultimately just changed my life. I just think it's been consistency and just showing up at the river and documenting my adventures. But there has been some bangers over the years that have helped me kind of reach where we're at today. So my advice to anyone who wants to get into something that I'm getting into, you know, whether it's YouTube or any other social platform, I would just say, just put your heart and soul into it. Don't be afraid of what people say, because they're going to say some bad stuff. You could be the most perfect person, but there's always going to be someone. So just take that criticism, put it on the side, and if you can use it to better yourself, cool. But just forget about it. Keep pushing forward and just kind of focus on yourself, focus on whatever you got going on. Don't do it for money. Obviously, it's nice. You see everyone and, you know, they're driving all these fancy cars and this and that, but that's like the 1% of these people. And I will say nowadays it's easier for anyone to make this their job. I just think you got to be someone special in the mind to kind of, you know, I mean, in a way of like dedication, you really got to want it. I mean, like I said, I spent, I think, what was it, 2011, 4 or 5 years without making $100. And I'm talking, I had a notebook by my bed. I had a notebook in the shower. I was writing down ideas like anytime I had a video idea. And if I gave up any time along that route, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be the treasure hunter that I am, I guess. So my advice to everyone is just put your heart into it, be dedicated, don't get discouraged, because you will have setbacks, you will fail, and people will say bad things. But just keep moving along, keep chasing your dreams, have some fun, look back at your memories, and that's what, really, that's what it's all about, you know? And if you can make some extra cash, cool. you know. But if you do make some extra cash, I just put it to the side, put it to your house, and then once you get your house paid off, I think you can buy whatever you want. That's what I would do if I had to redo it. Yeah, documenting and creating. But if you document and you don't create, maybe it's easier for you to make that video because it's easy to document, you know, what you're doing. Just have that mindset. But you can create, obviously, there's creators. But, you know, just have fun with it. Keep it easy, keep it light, and be consistent. And with whatever you do, you'll probably be very successful. So.